Go back to you being 10, your mind gets blown off because of a Tribe Called Quest. What exactly entails with your mind getting blown open? What changes at that point for you?
Um, so one of the things that really did kind of resonate in my city was Baltimore club music. So Baltimore club music was like a huge thing. Pharrell has mentioned it in the past. It's a genre of music that's kind of similar to Philly club, but it has its own like very Baltimore specific sort of chants over like simple drum loops that kind of become really complex in this like mix of there's like you might listen to a club mix and there's like five or six songs within that kind of transition from one to the other. It's really pretty dope, man. It's something to kind of. There was recently a documentary about some aspect of it on Netflix called Dark City. Dark City on Netflix is kind of a very artsy look at Baltimore Club. They don't play all of the older ones, but Baltimore Club also fucked my life up, like in a pretty crazy way. So I hear a Tribe Called Quest, and then that piques my curiosity about listening to the radio. While I listen to the radio, Baltimore Club becomes like a bigger part of my life. And there are two competing stations at the time. There's V103 and 92Q, who at 8 o'clock on Fridays used to have these club mixes. They'd be like 2 hour blocks of incredible music, like incredible club music. And it would fuck me up because I was like, I got to record it on each one. So I try to record each station. And that got me into recording things and making playlists. And, you did it with tape, which was hard as fuck, but you make a playlist of things that you like to listen to. And so you could listen to something on the way, on the bus on the way to school or something like that. And that got me listening to more types of music, the radio, essentially.
That's crazy. Because this is like what, 93, 94, right? So it's an era
I
that's
think,
way before YouTube, way before the
yeah,
internet. And it's also nifty because it's not Montreal and it's not a well documented place such as New York or LA.
right,
So it's
right.
always nifty to like, how much like for you like I guess at that age the radio is a big part of it, but you also like get turned on to music videos. You start like dubbing tapes. Like, tell us a
Yeah,
bit what it's like for you to actually go about getting new music at this era beyond the radio. So you hear a dope ass song on the radio, then what
yeah.
happens?
Then you try to figure out what it is. So that was the hardest part. You'd be like, okay, I heard something on the radio. And so one of the things that happened was one of our cousins, so Tizzy, and I had an older cousin named Tuna who listened to a ton of hip hop, but I was petrified of talking to him. So what I'd do is I'd listen to his music. He was the plug on new music. You like you stick your ear out to the stairs and you hear like Nas, it ain't hard to tell, or Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with, or Gravediggers, or something that like I could not handle how vivid Nas was. Like I could not handle when I first heard Illmatic in my aunt's house. It fucked another thing. It like I know this sounds like hyperbole, man, but it
No,
really
it doesn't. It sounds like because
there's
you're young, right? Like this
yeah,
is
yeah.
all of us remember being young and watching and having this shit. Like I swear, every single human that I've talked to may not have used the same language, but has described the same experience approximately at this point
Yes.
when they've had it.
So here's the problem, Holden. I'm 37 and I still have the same feeling. I still have those explosions still happen to me, and I can't figure out what that has to do with. Some of it feels like it's like allowing yourself to experience
Yeah.
something with a lack of like judgment. It's like you take it in. A new movie, a new song, a new something can still do the same thing. Like when I think about the feeling I felt when I listened to Nas Illmatic or It Ain't Hard to Tell first, I can definitely tell you times I felt that in the past 6 months or so.
I relate to
Yeah.
that. I try to keep that alive, but I lost that, but then I got it again. Like that's one of
Oh
those
shit.
muscle things, right? Because
What stopped it, if you don't mind me asking? What was the thing that like
somewhere in my early 20s, whatever, I guess I didn't allow myself to care. Like I was always excited about shit. In an it's okay, like regular shit can excite me a lot. But let's
mm,
say the luster of life wasn't what it was. But then when I started looking for like newer experiences, and probably my mid 20s, I decided being miserable probably wasn't like the path forward in life, and I didn't really have good reasons to be miserable. So I started the process of like looking for shit. And man, if you
mm,
start looking for shit, there's just amazing stuff all over. Like
yeah.
if you if you like take a really open mind to music even, you can like find stuff. Like I remember the first time I found Björk's music, and she recorded a track on her first album where she went into the bathroom. She first of all she's performing it live, and she takes a hand recorded mic as she's spitting the track, walks
Okay.
into the bathroom stall, and then leaves the fucking venue. And then that's the album version. And that shit blew
Okay.
my. I was like, "Yo, you can just you can just make music like that." And this
Right,
was
right,
like
right.
what 3 years ago, maybe. But just to be able to see the world through for me, it's a lot of perspective. So with this show, oh my fucking god, dude, I get to go through this a lot. Like
Right, right, right.
you can just record your kid fucking. You can just spit the books at the kid and turn. You can do that
Right.
afar. That's gonna
That's good.
solve all kinds of fucking problems. Oh, shout out Rachel for the follow. I missed that. My bad. Um,
Okay.
but yo, so it's like yo, for me, it's like if you look for it and you allow yourself to be excited like a 6-year-old, you can be excited by a 6-year-old.
Yeah. Holden, when I talk to a hip hop producer and they say that they've created a whole album on an iPad or an Android tablet, I want to punch them in the chest. I feel the same level of like, I'm like, how can you make music completely on a tablet? I can't.
Tools.
I know that's weird, a weird correlation, but I have that same level of amazement. You talk about kids,
No,
people
dude,
just
I'm
making
hold on. I'm
beats on
33,
things.
right? So I
Mm,
have the exact same level of amazement that you do. My man sends me some shit. I'm like, bro, yo, these beats are wicked. He's like, yeah, the guy made them entire. He's like 17, made them on an iPad.
mm.
I interviewed a 17-year-old Ron James. You
So
you might not want to
Holden,
interview a 17-year-old if you are
make
feeling
you
this
makes you
way.
feel crazy, right?
He has
So
recorded 185 songs by himself, mixed and mastered, and he's 17 by himself.
I normally don't like
Blew my
ask
mind.
people to like I normally don't say things to try to incite violence, but I beat that little kid up.
I know, I know. I
Just
saw it
off the strength
happen.
of like I got like a good right hook. Like I would just punch him. He'll be okay. I'll just punch him in his chest and be like, you fucking
But
piece of
here's the problem: he was so humble about it. He was
oh
so
man.
respectful to the arts. He was
That's
just
so cool, man.
all the things, and you're like, it's just astounding to me that the your young people are actually my best answer for where I get the most of that feeling. I go talk to a 20-year
Oh
old,
wow.
I
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
out with this feeling like the whole world is incredible because it's like they're all good at branding,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's a surprisingly marketable skill to have in this day and age. It looks like this
Yeah.
generation's gonna be alright.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, that
I'm
shit's.
hopeful.
But I also think it's perspective. If you hang out with negative nillies all the time and everybody wants to be a naysayer and everyone wants to see the worst in everything, then you're never ever gonna allow yourself to experience. If you want to like, if 1985 is like the pinnacle of content, then you'll never see how dope 2021 is.
Yeah. People that talk like that are like legitimate haters. Like I think good music gets made all the time. Like,
Facts.
people that are like R&B isn't like sure. I mean, obviously like there was a marketing team that was handling putting something in front of your face every moment of the day. MTV, the promo cycle with that. So like in our heads, things are represented very differently. But if you
Facts.
mean like the pool of talent is huge now, and you can listen. You know what's one of the scariest things in the world? One thing that I kind of wish we would get back is like if you and I talk, Holden, I could live where you live on the same street, and we could talk about music, and I'll give you 50 people that you've never heard of in your life, and you will give me 50 people that I've never heard of in my life. and it's the weirdest thing in the world. I kind of missed when there was like
Yo, but
some
that's the
level of
thing. So you can have that again, but you gotta look for that, and it's hard to find. But I started doing album reviews. We're gonna go back to you in a little bit, but I fucking love this chat. Um, but like I started doing album reviews, and bro, I started finding all this underground shit, and I realized what happened is Billboard used to rely on the streets to find what's really hot. Billboard don't give a fuck what anybody thinks but data. So it changed. The metric of success went from tastemakers to data. And unless you really understand like the 30 years of A&Rs and the evolution, and you've really gone down this path of this music history rabbit hole, it's hard to like understand why certain music charts and certain music doesn't chart now versus then. But none of y'all are buying albums. You know how easy it would be to make one of these dudes chart on a coordinated effort of like 500 people who are willing to put up $20 each. So I'm just saying, if y'all want to see your favorite guy chart, go buy his shit.
Y'all doing it with the AMC stock. I'm just saying, like it can happen with other things. Like I'm watching, like I'm an investor, AMC to the moon. I'm actually paying attention to stuff like that, but like it's a coordinated thing. People meet in a place, they talk about it, they do it, and then it just happens. It's not that hard.
It's like, you're gonna tell me that y'all couldn't take a Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist album and keep him at #1 for 5 weeks? Like, come the fuck on. It's up to you
By
guys
the way,
to put that effort in.
Incredible album.
I don't know. I heard 2 of them. I don't know which one you mean.
There's not Pinata.
There's Pinata, and then there's the other.
Alfredo.
Yeah.
Alfredo.
Okay, yeah,
Alfredo was one.
That's amazing.
Yeah.